Hi, everybody. My name is Todd Schul. I serve as the lead learner for the SCEA Center for Educator Wellness and Learning. We call ourselves Cool. You can learn everything you need to know about Cool on our website at cool.us. That's CEWL.us. And of course, we are brought to you in part by a grant from the National Education Association. And of course, I mentioned we are the SCEA Center. And if you are interested in joining our movement at the SCEA, you can go to jointhescea.org. Well, over the past couple of weeks, there has been a lot of information shared, and I've even shared some of this information on social media about some of the potential challenges that some of our students may face in terms of immigration and ICE. We've heard about ICE raids and things like that, and a lot of this information went out, and there was some confusion over what might be just causing unnecessary panic, or what might we may actually need to know as educators to ensure that we are, first of all, in alignment with the law, but also protecting our students and their families. So, since I'm not an expert on that, I thought we would reach out to some folks who know more about this and who are connected to those communities. And so I reached out to Deborah Alvarado at the Hispanic Alliance. She's their director of programs and network engagement. And she agreed to come on the show to talk to us a little bit about this and share her insights. So without further ado, here is Deborah Alvarado. How are you doing, Deborah?
Good. Thank you for having me today.
Is there anything else before we start our conversation that you'd like folks to know about you and your background?
I'll share a little bit about Hispanic Alliance, but myself, I'm from Puerto Rico, and I have been in the Greenville area for about 16 years, product of Modern High School, in USC Upstate. And I've been with the organization for about 8 years. So happy to talk a little bit about Hispanic Alliance, what we are doing, and also answer questions regarding what's been going on in our community.
So let's do that real quickly. Tell us a little bit about the Hispanic Alliance.
Of course. So we are a nonprofit organization. We're actually celebrating our 15th year. So we're celebrating Quinceañera this year. We are all about connecting people, resources, programs. We are that bridge of communication between the Hispanic community and everything that our South Carolina Upstate region has to offer. Most of our work revolves in four areas, which are health, education, financial stability, and legal access. We call those our community teams, and they are 100% volunteer led, where we implement, execute programs for the community based on the community needs. So every year can be a little bit different, just like this year will be very different as to what we normally offer. But we tackle everything from personal finance workshop, business entrepreneurship workshop. We do active living activities, citizenship workshop, community resource fair. We have done college fair as well. Every Friday for the school year, we are doing lunch and learns in Greenville County schools, where we go to different high schools and we tailor our lunch and learn based on the school needs. So we go and talk with high school students, whether it is about scholarship, career readiness, how to apply for college, stories of success. It truly changes depend on which school we attend. But in a year basis, we're connecting with about 500 to 600 students in Greenville County Schools through that program. In addition, in talking about education, we have our program that is called Student Dreamers Alliance, or better known in the community as SDA, which is a leadership accelerator program for juniors and seniors that are in Berea and Carolina High School. So we have a group of 24 students that are part of this program, 1 year long. If you're familiar with the Aspen Institute, or even more local in like Leadership Greenville, it is a product very similar to those, but designed for our high school juniors and seniors, Hispanic descent. And we work with them for a year when it comes to advocacy and leadership, communication. And even after they finish this school year with us. They are part of the SDA Alumni Network. I mean, right now, our first class is graduating from college. So we're having conversations with them about resume building and looking for jobs and careers. So it is a program that is going now into its ninth year. And after this school year ends, we're going to be over 300 alumni, most of them here in the Berea and Carolina high schools. And then we are going into our third year in Charleston at R.B. Stoll High School. So that's just a little bit of everything that we do here in the organization.
That sounds great. Thank you so much for all that you're doing. I'd like to, you know, for this conversation, we have a lot of educators watching, and as I mentioned in the beginning of the program, there are a lot of graphics circulating around ICE raids and around some of the potential sort of threats or challenges that Hispanic students may be facing, and there was some confusion around that when I reposted that. Somebody else said, "Oh, you're going to just cause panic, and then some of those students aren't going to want to come to school or whatever." So I wanted to rather than I never want to spread misinformation online. So I reached out to you, Deborah, to help sort of educators better understand what's going on and how they can best be supportive allies for our Hispanic students and families.
Yes. So happy, to talk about this because there's a lot of misinformation out there. So what we're trying to do is provide resources and education. Our legal team, most of the participants or the volunteers in that team, they are attorneys, and most of them are immigration attorneys. So we are having conversations now pretty much on a daily basis. Our team is meeting on a weekly basis so that we can further discuss what are some immigration updates and policies that are taken into effect that we need to let our families know. And we're providing all of this information, whether it is through our social media. You can find us as Hispanic Alliance SC on our website, HispanicAllianceSC.com, and also on our newsletter. We have a monthly newsletter. When it comes to the education side, the one question that we get from our educators is, I'm not sure what to tell our families. What resources are there? And the very first thing is find out if your school district has a plan. Do they have any steps to take? And I'm going to use Greenville County School as an example because they put an article last week where they stated if ICE comes into the school, we have to cooperate. However, we would not disclose any immigration status from any of our students. So that means that, yes, ICE can go into any schools, but each district will have the autonomy to decide how they want to collaborate with ICE. Whether it is by just, hey, give me the letter that you have, or if you're looking for someone specific, chances are that the school will not allow that simply because they cannot disclose information from a specific student if they're underage. I'm not an attorney, so I'm not doing any type of legal advice, but I am going to talk about what has been discussed and what we're doing in our community conversations. Kids need to go to school. They have to go to school. If they don't go to school, parents are going to get in trouble because they're going to end up going into court. And that is the very last thing that the parents will want to do, especially if you're in a mixed household where your students, you might have some citizen students, some DACA recipients, or some undocumented students, and parents are undocumented. We don't want to put them in that situation where they have to go to court. So please do encourage your families and your students to continue to go to school. School is a safe place for our students. And a lot of times it is the one place that they have a lot of stability. So we want to continue for our students to have that stability in school. If we know that at home there might be some fears that they may be going through or that families may be going through. So I highly recommend find out what is your school district plan. If they don't have a plan, we do have on our website some steps that you can take, some resources. We have red cards, and I'll talk about red cards in just a second. We have Know Your Rights handouts, what to say, what not to say. We also have monthly meetings, legal team meetings that are open to the public. So any educator, if your lunchtime is at 12 p.m., the first Wednesday of every month from 12 to 1, we have a legal team meeting. If you have any questions, you can ask the attorneys. And if it's something a little bit more private about a specific situation, you can email me and I'll be more than glad to connect you with an attorney. They are doing everything that they can in their power to answer all the questions, because again, we want to make sure that we are educating our families, our educators, about what is going on. Policies are changing in a day by day situation, if you want me to be very honest. So we can be talking about this right now, and maybe next month things may change again. But for now, um, again, find out what is the plan for your school district. Another question that we're getting a lot from educators are if birthright citizenship change. And the answer is no. If you have any students that were born in United States and parents are undocumented, the citizenship status for that student has not changed. You still have a US citizen student. That has not changed. And there has been a lot of confusion about that. So we keep repeating it because we want to make sure that both, teachers and students understand that if you were born in United States, your birthright citizenship has not changed.
Right.
That means that you still have access to a lot of scholarships. And that's why I'm going to mention that a lot of people, a lot of students are like, well, apparently I'm not a citizen anymore, so I cannot do FAFSA. Yes, you can do FAFSA. There is no barrier for you to do FAFSA if you still have your social security. Um, there's still questions about parent information on FAFSA. We're still trying to figure that out. So hopefully, when we have more information, Todd, I would love to share it with you so that you can share with the team. But for students that have citizenship status that has not changed, please continue to go to school. Please continue to apply for college, for your FAFSA, and any type of other scholarships that you have access to.
What you had mentioned that the districts would have some autonomy. Is there any concern that you may have some districts who utilize all the rights they have to essentially shield those students, but that there may be some other districts, like we have about 80 school districts in South Carolina. There might be some school districts that actually agree with some of this new policy and want to sort of facilitate or help ICE with this. I mean, is there any concern there, or do you anticipate that most districts will use that autonomy in ways that are supportive?
I think that they will use it in ways that it will be supportive of the district and also the families and the students. If we go by what the new administration has put in place, is that they are only detaining people that have a criminal record and background. So if we go by that, and the information is truthful, then that's not going to apply to, most likely, to any of our students. So there will be no reason for ICE to enter any of the schools, right? If we go by what has been published. I do think that all the schools are going to want the best interest for their students. So I truly hope, and I don't think that the students should worry about ICE showing up in school at all. If you want me to be honest, what I'm more worried about, and the legal team has shared this over and over again, is not so much ICE entering the school, is what happens if the student gets out of the school bus and they get home and they don't find their parents because they have been detained. So I
Right.
think it's more the other way around. When the kids are in school, again, we don't feel like there's going to be much concern there because they're only looking for those that have a criminal record in United States. And that means people that have been at deportation proceedings and they have missed their hearing or court date, people that have been in jail and have been out in bond, but they have yet to receive a court date. They are starting first with those that have higher criminal cases, whether it is for DA or SA cases, starting with those. We may see some deportation happening with the 287G law, which 287G law allows any officer, whether it is county officer, city officer, sheriff, state patrol, to act as an ICE agent and start deportation proceedings immediately upon a traffic stop if you cannot provide documentation. So those are the type of more cases that we are trying to find all of the information in which counties have that law in place at the moment, because again, we're not thinking that ICE is going to go into the schools. It is more what happens when the kid gets out of the school bus, or if the kid is in carpool and no one is there to pick them up. And just to make it also known, we have an ICE office here in Greer. That is our office for the state of South Carolina, the primary one. So ICE has always been here. I think our community, including myself, we're paying a lot more attention now when we see the brown SUVs, the F-150s. Maybe we saw them before when we didn't pay much attention, but we're definitely paying more attention now. But they have always been here because immigration offices are literally just in our backyard here in Greenville.
I imagine that this is creating in for some young people and adults. I'm thinking about just like our students, the fear that they may be experiencing now, and just the scenario you mentioned about getting off the bus and going home to an empty house, even though that may not happen. The idea that now it could probably generates a lot of fear. What are some ways that educators can support their students as they navigate the next few years, and some of the fears that they may have around, even if it's not them, their immediate family being or their people in their community that they're close to being impacted by these new policies?
One, always stay informed. What are the latest immigration updates and policies that are in place? Hispanic Alliance is always going to be able to provide those. We're going to post those on our website, on our newsletters as well. And I say this because we want to avoid it. I think this is going to happen. It might happen. No, we're going to stay informed. So always stay informed, and let's avoid creating fear for students. But also at the same time, make sure that you know who's your student in the classrooms. Do you know their legal status, or do you know their family situation at home? One of the ways that you can support those families are, we have a lot of family. Actually, we're starting this week, and this is happening around the state. A lot of nonprofit organizations and grassroots groups are mobilizing power of attorney clinics. And this is to help out our parents that have students that have children here, that if something were to happen, if I need to go back to my home country, if I get deported, this is what I want to happen with my kids. Who can take them to school? Who can enroll them in school? Who can take them to the doctor? Do I want my children to stay here because they are American citizens, or do I want someone to take them back to my home country because I want to, be with my family again? So provide that information to the families, whether it is through the system that your, district uses, or if you have a parent meeting. Hey, this is why a power of attorney is important. And this is how it can benefit in the school setting. So if you have a power of attorney, this is going to allow whoever is that individual to pick them up from school. If you need to move to a different school because now I'm taking care of your children, and I'm no longer assigned to that school zone, and I need to move them to another one, this legal document would allow me to do that. So that is one aspect, one action that a lot of parents are taking. Hispanic Alliance here in Greenville County, we are starting to conduct power of attorney clinics, and this is going to happen all year. We're doing our very first one this week, but this will happen many other times. I know Charleston is also getting ready to do one in March, and they're going to have several also through the year. Same happening in Columbia, Aiken, Spanberg, and we're trying to go into other areas of the state. But we are going to need the support from our educators to educate the families as to, this is how in the school setting a power of attorney is going to support you. So that's going to be very helpful for the families in the aspect of like, what can I do to protect my children and to keep them safe in the school, and also educators. And then when it comes to kids going home and not having someone, having a preparedness plan. And later this week, it will be on our website, but we are working on a handout that it can be printable. So any of their educators can print them out and hand it to their students or to the families. But it's going to have line by line the name of the student, medications. If you get home and I'm not here, this is the person that you call. And it's just helping the families navigate through those resources. A lot of our families may not have access to internet. A lot of our families that do have access through the internet is through the phone. They don't have a laptop, they don't have an iPad. Some of them are isolating. We have families that are not going into work because they're scared of getting pulled over and starting deportations proceedings. So we need to become those sources of information for families. So I think, if we can unite educators, community leaders to be that village for the family, we are going to really support them in many ways.
Excellent. Thank you. That there's a lot of very practical advice in what you're doing, and I think it's really important for us in the midst of this ongoing issue for us really to be clear on what our plans are going to be and so that we can respond effectively instead of chaotically. Um, one of the things that I've been concerned about, and I don't know if you have any data or anecdotes to share, has there been an uptick in sort of bullying or sort of racist or bigoted threats or insults or whatever rhetoric towards Hispanic students in South Carolina?
I don't have data. I would say that we have received calls and comments from different schools or parents. And I think this is the perfect way to remind our educators that, when we are in the classroom, we have to leave our political views aside, right? We are here to protect, we're here to educate, we're here to serve. And I say that with the kindness coming from my heart. That's what we're here to do. Same in my position in nonprofit. I'm here to serve, I'm here to educate, I'm here to be a resource. We have received comments of teachers saying comments to students or to parents and students not wanting to stay in the school or sending a quick text to their parents like, pick me up, our teacher said this, I'm not sure if I'm safe. Or, if you don't have an American passport, you're not coming into the school. We have definitely heard some comments from different people around the state. So although I don't have any data, I do think that we need to always remind our educators that we are here to educate and that we need to leave our personal beliefs aside and just be that, source of information. But more than anything, again, schools are a safe place for our students. You might be the only safe place that these students have. We don't know what is going on at home half of the time. And we're now adding the stress level of what will happen to my family tomorrow. So while you have them in the classroom, in the school setting, let's be kind and let's do what we need to do, which is educate.
Absolutely. What can we do as educators what do we need to be studying or looking at, or what skills should we be looking at so that we can cultivate a more inclusive environment for these students? Is it learning Spanish? Is it learning about the culture? Like, what are some ways that educators can equip themselves to create those kind of environments that you're talking about, where we're serving all students, including Hispanic students well?
Embrace the culture. Truly embrace the culture. We're coming to United States. I came to United States and I embrace the culture. I respect the culture. I love it here, right? So do the same for your students. There's many ways that you can do that. I think the one that people tend to go to is Hispanic Heritage Month, right? So if you celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month, do it, but also do it in a way that celebrates and uplifts and educate. So at Hispanic Alliance, we do have a website, hispanicheritagement.com, where we provide educational resources, If you are in the classroom setting and you're looking not only for Hispanic Heritage Month, but for the entire year, if you're looking for activities to do or movie recommendation or docu-series recommendation, whatever it is, we always have it available at HispanicHeritageMonth.com. Closer to September, we'll definitely do a whole revamp outside of Hispanic Heritage Month. Ways that you can embrace the culture, have conversations with your students, learn about them, where they're from, the food that they eat, the music that they listen to, the dialect that they may speak. If Central American students, they might speak a dialect, not even Spanish. Right now, I'm coordinating a Know Your Rights presentation for a Guatemalan community, and I'm thinking, and I'm Hispanic. Oh, I need to translate everything into Spanish, have everything ready. We're going to do this, and it's going to be perfect. And then I go to the church. They don't speak Spanish. They speak a dialect, a true dialect. So it's now I need to, find ways that I can make it work for them, that I can try interpret, that I can translate the documents. And it's even within our own culture that we need to educate. So embrace the culture. I think learning Spanish is always going to be helpful, but that is something that is going to take time.
Yeah.
And right now, I don't want to say that we are in a state of emergency because we don't want to panic people, but we are in a state that we need to mobilize and that we need to provide information quickly. So the ways to do it is, be kind with your students, learn about them, learn about the culture, embrace it, um, and be a resource for them and their families. And if you are looking for a resource and you don't know where to find it, Hispanic Alliance will always be here. If I don't have the answer, we're going to look for the answer.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And I think we have a tendency with cultures that we're not familiar with to want to lump them all together and say like there's one Hispanic culture,
Mhm.
there's one Asian culture, and we don't really take the time to really understand that there's a wide diversity within that particular group, and it's really important to acknowledge and better understand uh, that diversity, so that we're not stereotyping and overlooking the beauty in each individual culture that makes the world a beautiful place. Like if the thing that's so frustrating for me is, um, the world is just full of these distinct cultures, and the more of them, like the more beautiful it is. It's like having more colors as an artist to paint with, and it's like it adds to the beauty of our humanity. And it's important not to, I think, for educators to just assume that they're all the same. So thank you for making that point. Is there anything that we haven't talked about that educators should know, or that you'd like to just share, any resources or information we haven't yet touched on that you want to share with our audience?
Yeah, the main one is red cards. So red cards are the size of a business card, and in one side it has information that tell parents and even students are starting to carry it, as much as it breaks my heart. But it's on one side is in Spanish, and it tells you what to do and what not to do if you encounter an ICE agent. And then in the back side, it has information in English about what are your constitutional rights. And a lot of times, all you have to do is hand that card to the ICE agent if you encounter one, and slide it under your door if they knock your door, or if you're at a traffic stop, also giving that card. And it is a very important tool that is used nationwide. Because a lot of times, even if you encounter an ICE agent, there are ways that you can protect yourself. Um, and this red card truly is the easiest way for families to grasp it. So we have a printable version on our website, and we are also ordering 20,000 cards. If you are in the upstate area, we're getting those cards next week, and I'll be happy to coordinate delivery. I'm in the Greenville area. You can also come to our office, but we're happy to distribute them as well. If you're in other areas of the state, I can connect you with whether it's an organization closer to you or a leader closer to you, so that we can give those to you. And also, there is a website that I don't know if they're still taking orders, but Immigration Legal Resource Center was placing order for free I have to check if it's still available or not, but I'll send you that contact, that link, so that we can pass it along if it's still available. But the red cards are being passed around at churches. There are restaurants that are putting them, grocery stores are putting them on the checkout station, and everybody is just starting to hand out these red cards.
And
Um,
educators can get those on the website at
yes.
HispanicAlliance.com. Where on the website is it found?
It is going to be in our resource page.
Okay.
So it is HispanicAllianceSC.com/resources legal. And you can download a version there if you wanted to download, or if you wanted to, make cards yourself, you can also do that. But we're seeing a mass distribution of red cards all through our state.
Okay. All right. I appreciate that. So folks should visit here. We're going to put this up. Let me get the website and put it on there for everybody. So it is HispanicAlliance.com/resources-legal. Okay.
Yes, and you're going to see the red card there, which is a downloadable and printable version. You will also see a Know Your Rights flyer. It's available in both English and Spanish. One side is for our families to be able to understand what is this, and then the other side is for our English speakers, our allies that want to know, what to do and what to say and what not to say. And the first part is going to have information about knowing your rights, what happens if you are in a position where you encounter an ICE agent. And then the second portion of that flyer is going to talk about how and why you should make a family plan power of attorney. And of course, has our information. But on this same page, the Hispanic Alliance /resources-legal, we are going to start including information there. So by the end of this week, you're going to see a preparedness plan. As new development comes in place, we will also have information there. We will probably also work in a series of short clips and videos. What happens at home, what happens at work, what happens in a traffic stop, what happens in school, and those will be available on our website. So a lot of moving pieces, but it will come together for resources.
Okay. Well, Deborah, I really appreciate your time and what you're doing. Um, there's like this emotional and sense of just commitment to justice piece, but what you've outlined today is also reminds me that there's a very practical, we need to look at this and very pragmatically, like we have to figure out, look, this is the reality, and we can feel heartbroken over it, and we can feel this sense of empathy, but at the end of the day, it is what it is right now, and here's how we need to respond to it. Here's some of the best ways that we can respond to it. So the red cards, and just everybody kind of keeping up to date with what's going on, what their rights are, and also just encouraging those kids to continue going to school so that we don't create new legal issues for them and their families. I think it's really, really good advice. So I want to thank you for sharing that information with our educators today.
No, and thank you for the space. What we're trying to do is to continue to have, information out there and try to diminish all the misinformation that is also out there. We want to, stop the panic and the chaos. Obviously, everybody is alarmed, and even myself, nervous about what is going on. But the best that we can do right now is to be informed and do everything in our power to make sure that our families are prepared.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Deborah.
Thank you.
All right. All right, everybody. That was Deborah Alvarado from the Hispanic Alliance. Again, if you didn't see the website, if you're just tuning in now, you can go to HispanicAlliance.com. All the information around their organization can be found there, and including contact information. In terms of the resource that she shared, if you go to HispanicAllianceSC.com/resources-legal, you'll see that there is a PDF of the red card for you to download, and you can print that. You can share that with families and with students, have those available. And of course, you want to talk with your school district and your school's administration about how you can effectively address these things that are happening in the Hispanic community. And I think one of the most important things that she discussed was really the importance for educators to set aside their politics and assume the role of a teacher, which is to love and serve every single student that comes in there, regardless of what your politics are. We need to love and care for those students and make sure that we are not amplifying a culture of fear, not making them feel othered, making them feel like they're being marginalized, and make them feel like they don't belong. That we need to make sure that we're doing what Maslow said to create a really safe, loving environment of belonging for these students. They are human beings and deserve our love and care. And I hope that educators who are watching will insist upon that, not only in their own classrooms, but throughout their entire school and their district, and that we'll continue to fight for that, regardless of what the laws are. So again, thanks to Deborah Alvarado and Hispanic Alliance for the work that they're doing. I did want to share just a couple of things. One is our Cool Coaching. If you are an induction teacher in South Carolina, that's teachers in the first 5 years of your career, and you need some support, you can get that for free online. You don't have to travel anywhere. You don't have to pay for anything, and you get it one-to-one. So you're not even going in a group setting, and you can just share some of the questions or some of the issues that you're having with one of our 3 amazing educators. This happens every Tuesday and Thursday night from 6 to 8 p.m. If you want to learn more and participate, you just go to cool.us or cool.us/coaching. I also want to mention our Educator Wellness Retreat. If you're an educator in South Carolina, we do have the applications open for our June 25th through 27th and June 23rd through 25th retreats in Old Fort, North Carolina. These are secular, science-based, and trauma-sensitive. Just educators, so it's usually around 12 educators that show up, and Yelena Popovich and I facilitate this experience, brought to you by NEA, and it is just a really great opportunity for you to reconnect with yourself, give yourself a sense of renewal, and recommit to your own wellness. So if you're interested, just go to cool.us/retreat. And if you are interested in learning more about yoga, we have yoga resources on the Cool website as well. So we encourage you to go to cool.us/yoga. Again, thanks to Deborah Alvarado and the Hispanic Alliance. Thank you for tuning in. Please help us support all of our students in our public schools. And thank you for what you do for our students. If you want to learn more about Cool and what we do at Cool, all you have to do is go to the website cool.us. And if you are interested in joining our movement to create the kind of schools that all students and teachers deserve, we encourage you to join our association at jointhescea.org. We'll see you on our next live stream. Until then, thank you so much.